Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at something that I always thought was pretty interesting. It's a folklore figure that has a really strong connection to Fort Wayne and really anyone that lives in the Midwest. If you grew up in the Midwest or live in the Midwest, you probably know about this person. His name was Johnny Appleseed, or John Chapman was his real name, but he was born in 1774 in Massachusetts. And he ended up doing all of his work all around the Midwest, mostly Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. And I just always thought it was pretty interesting because most of the stories that are told about him there's a lot of false information. For example, a lot of people kind of pictured him as just walking around dropping seeds on the ground. That's kind of what we were taught as kids, but that's not really what he did. But the big connection that he has to Fort Wayne is actually that he ended up eventually dying here, and this is his grave site, and I just thought that you guys might like to see this. So today we're going to be looking at Johnny Appleseed's grave in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now it's basically in a big park. There's a campground and then just a park, and this is kind of up on the hill. If you don't know exactly where it is, you'll definitely drive right by it. It's not really advertised unless you know where it is. So this is actually on Coliseum Boulevard in Fort Wayne, and it's a really nice place. There's some controversy as to where he officially is buried. There's another part of town where they say he's buried there, and then other people say he's buried here. Nobody really knows. I don't think there's any way to know unless you start digging, but it's right next to the Coliseum, which kind of shows you how things have changed since the 1800s when he was buried here. But if you come into here, it's a really nice place. Now this grave over here, I don't know who that is. I couldn't find anything online other than that person was related to him somehow. I know some other people that have come here and done videos, they said that it was his wife, but he was never married, so it was not his wife. And I thought it was interesting. Whoever it was, they did not make their way into the gated area, so I don't know why they're just kind of buried over there to the side. Now if you notice, this place is surrounded by apple trees, which makes sense, and it's kind of a tradition that you drop an apple into his grave area, I guess, just to let him know that you stopped by. But that's why there's all those apples in there. And some of the lasting legacies of him there's a big festival actually coming up here in a few weeks in September at this park, the Johnny Appleseed Festival. And I know that there's actually Johnny Appleseed festivals around the country. This is like the main one because he's actually there. And if you're ever in Fort Wayne in September, definitely check it out because it's definitely one of the better ones. And of course, his name actually inspired the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, which is the minor league baseball team here in town. And I actually did a full tour of the stadium that they play at. I'll put the link in the description. Also at Glenbrook Mall, there used to be a big section dedicated to him called the Apple Orchard. And if you know where to find it, that statue still stands, even though the section is gone. But one thing I always thought was interesting is one of the not accurate false stories about Johnny Appleseed is that he was always just kind of wandering around dropping seeds into the ground, planting trees. But back at that time in the 1800s, when this whole area or the Midwest was just frontier basically, he would go into areas that were not settled yet and he would plant orchards, because at that time if you planted enough trees on a plot of land, that land became yours. So he would plant these orchards all over the Midwest, and come back several years later, he would have people actually take care of them, and then he would sell that land. Because that land was his, he would sell it to settlers that were coming into the area. So it was actually a business that he was doing. It wasn't just him wandering around like a lot of the cartoons and everything say he was. But by the time he died, he actually had over 1,000 acres to his name that he hadn't sold yet. So it was actually a planned thing. It wasn't just him wandering around. But if If you guys ever are in the area, check out this park. It's a really nice place. It's all free. Check it out. I thank everybody for watching. I hope everybody has a great day, a great week, and thanks again.